Some stories fade with time, others become legends, but a few, they haunt history as if they're waiting to be solved. This is the story of Flight 19, a routine Navy training mission that became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. 5 planes, 14 men, and not a single trace was ever found. Part 1. The mission begins. The date was December 5, 1945, just a few months after the end of World War II. At Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, a group of young men prepared for a standard training flight. For them, this was nothing unusual. The Navy had flown the same mission dozens of times before. Their aircraft, the Grumman TBM Avenger, a rugged torpedo bomber used extensively during the war. Reliable, battle-proven, and well-suited for the day's assignment. The flight group was designated Flight 19, and it included 5 aircraft and 14 airmen, led by an experienced combat pilot, Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor. At just 28 years old, Taylor was a decorated aviator with over 2,500 hours of flight time. The crew's task was simple, a 3-leg navigation and bombing exercise. The first leg would take them east over the Atlantic to a practice bombing range known as Hens and Chicken Shoals. The second leg would bring them north toward Grand Bahama Island. And finally, they would turn southwest and return to base. A triangular path, in and out, all within a few hours. Part 2. A routine flight turns mysterious. At exactly 2:10 p.m., Flight 19 took off from Fort Lauderdale under clear skies. Weather was fair, visibility good, and no storms were forecast along their route. For over an hour, everything proceeded as planned. The squadron reached the bombing range and completed their training drops. But around 3:40 p.m., unexpected radio traffic began to raise alarms. Something was wrong. Taylor, this is FT-28. We seem to be off course. I cannot see land. Everything looks wrong. Taylor's voice conveyed growing uncertainty. He reported that both his compasses had malfunctioned, a rare but not unheard of event. What's more troubling, he believed they were flying over the Florida Keys, far to the south of their intended route. But if that were true, they only needed to head north to return to base. If they were actually northeast as expected, flying north would take them further out into the open ocean. Other pilots in the squadron began to question Taylor's assessment. But Navy protocol was strict. All members of a squadron were required to follow their commanding officer's directions, even if they disagreed. Part 3, Lost in the Triangle, Ocean Gets Choppy. As the sun began to set, Flight 19 continued to drift further from land. Radio operators on the ground picked up fragmented conversations between the pilots. Some expressed fear, others tried to reason with their leader. At one point, another pilot, believed to be Ensign Joseph Bossy, was heard saying, "If we would just fly west, we would get home." But Taylor, confused by the compass failure and visual disorientation, kept altering their course. At 6:20 p.m., his final transmission came through, weary, calm, and chilling. "Taylor, all planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. Then, nothing." The skies grew dark, radio contact ceased, and Flight 19 was never heard from again. Part 4. A rescue that never returned. Within hours, the Navy launched one of the largest air and sea search efforts in American history. Planes, ships, and patrol boats scoured the Atlantic. Among the first to respond was a Martin PBM Mariner flying boat with 13 men on board. Just 20 minutes after takeoff, the Mariner also disappeared. Eyewitnesses aboard a nearby ship reported seeing an explosion in the sky and a fireball descending into the sea. It was believed the rescue plane had suffered a catastrophic failure, possibly from a fuel leak or ignition issue common in that aircraft type. In one night, 27 men were gone. No debris, no oil slicks, no bodies, nothing. Part 5. The investigation and official reports. In the months that followed, the Navy conducted an extensive investigation. At first, they placed the blame squarely on Lieutenant Taylor, citing navigational error. But after reviewing the unusual circumstances, including compass failure and conflicting positions, the final report was changed to cause unknown. One investigator even wrote, "They flew into another dimension." Though unofficial, that phrase would echo through the decades as speculation grew. Part 6. The theories. Baffle abduction. magnetic anomalies, methane gas eruptions from seafloor, human error plus severe weather. The disappearance of Flight 19 became the centerpiece of a growing myth. The Bermuda Triangle, a region between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, infamous for vanishings of planes and ships. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed. 1. Instrument malfunction and human error. Most experts believe Taylor misidentified the Bahamas for the Keys, and in attempting to correct, unknowingly led his squadron out to sea. 2. Compass interference and magnetic anomalies. Some believe the region contains magnetic irregularities that interfere with instruments. While this has been largely debunked by scientists, it remains part of the lore. 3. Weather and rogue waves. Sudden storms, waterspouts, or rogue waves, massive, unpredictable walls of water, could have brought the planes down quickly and without debris. 4. Methane hydrate eruptions. One theory suggests underwater gas pockets erupt, destabilizing the water and causing ships or aircraft to sink rapidly. 5. Supernatural or extraterrestrial activity. From alien abductions to time warps, some theorists insist there's more to the story, though no evidence supports such claims. Part 7. Legacy and Remembrance. Today, a quiet monument stands at the site of the old Fort Lauderdale base, honoring the missing men of Flight 19. Every year, a ceremonial flight takes off in their memory, a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and mystery. Their story has inspired books, documentaries, and fictional portrayals, from close encounters of the third kind to unsolved mysteries. But the real people behind it were sons, brothers, and servicemen simply doing their duty. To this day, no trace of the aircraft or their crew has ever been found. Part 8. Closing Reflection. The ocean keeps its secrets well. Flight 19 may never be found, but their story remains, a powerful reminder of the fine line between certainty and the unknown. Whether lost to error, weather, or forces beyond comprehension, one thing is clear: Flight 19 flew into history and vanished into legend. Flight 19, gone but not forgotten. Subscribe for more true mysteries, historical deep dives, and lost stories of the past.